Welcome back. Hunter Biden not expected to serve any prison time after reaching a plea deal on federal gun and tax crime charges. This despite President Biden telling Fox News back in 2020 that his son did nothing wrong. Watch.
I'm confident.
Biden praising his son again yesterday when asked about these charges. Watch.
Mr. President, have you spoken to your son today?
I'm very proud of my son.
Joining me right now is Ohio Congressman, Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan. He's also a member of the House Oversight Committee as well. Mr. Chairman, great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. What are your thoughts on this plea deal with Hunter Biden?
60% of the American people think there's a double standard at the Justice Department. They think that because there is. And you can see that with what happens to Hunter Biden and, of course, what they've done to President Trump, not just 8 days ago with the arraignment and the indictment, but what they've done to him for 7 years. So people see that. The scary thing for me is it's not just about the president going after President Trump. It's going after parents at school board meetings. If you're a pro-life Catholic, you're an extremist. If you're a journalist, for goodness sake, they went after Matt Taibbi. So that's the big overall overarching concern, is this double standard that the American people now see clearly and know that it exists.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, and you're an elected official, chairman of judiciary. We're all expecting that you're going to do something about it. I know you've got efforts to take away the weaponization underway in government, but we've got potential crimes in plain sight. I spoke with two of your colleagues on Sunday, two members of the Oversight Committee, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Andy Biggs, and listen to what the Georgia Congresswoman said about what she sees in the Oversight Committee. Watch this.
We have evidence. We have bank records, tons of them, that show the Biden family, Hunter, all kinds of family members, even grandchildren, being paid millions and millions of dollars from all these foreign countries that we know they have no business to prove that they're producing a product or a service to be making all this money. This man was only purely profiting by his father's powerful positions. Joe Biden absolutely should be impeached, but I got to tell you, Maria, so should Christopher Wray.
And that's really what I want to talk to you about, Congressman Christopher Wray. Is it true that when you all in the Oversight Committee had a chance to look at that FBI document, he actually redacted one of the most important things in that document, which was that the Burisma executive kept 17 audio recordings of conversations he had with Hunter Biden and 2 conversations he had with then Vice President Biden, Joe Biden. And Christopher Wray had that redacted?
Yeah, I don't know what was under the redactions, but I do know the document had lots of redactions in them. Now, remember, the history of the document, first of all, they wouldn't even acknowledge whether it existed or not. Then they said, well, it does exist, but we're only going to let the chairman and the ranking member see it. Finally, they let the full committee see it. But what we want is for the American people to be able to view it in an unredacted. The only thing that should be redacted is the name of the confidential human source. Let us see the rest. Let we, the people, see it. So this is a pattern we see with the Justice Department, not wanting to show us important information that I think the American people are entitled to. The big takeaway I had from that document was the foreign national uses the term the big guy. And this is the second time we've heard that term used. And I have just a fundamental question. If Joe Biden's not the big guy, who is? And why do you need 20-some different companies to funnel money through? So everything looks suspicious. That's why there's 150 suspicious activity reports that our Treasury Department put together. The Treasury Department that put together in the Obama-Biden administration, for goodness sake. So that's what we're digging into. Be forthcoming with this. Let us see the information. Let the American people see it so we can do our job.
Well, Congressman, this is all just so extraordinary. You've got 150 up to 200 these reports, SARS, and that is telling you from bank executives, leadership at banks, that something doesn't look right in terms of the money flows. You've got bank records that show money from foreign nationals getting distributed to 20 different a web of LLCs employees, and then they go to Biden family members, and you're getting rolled over again. It just feels like, you know, Russia collusion 2.0. I know that former special counsel John Durham is going to be testifying before your committee. Yeah. That's happening in about 90 minutes. We're expecting some detail into his investigation into the Russia collusion lie that we now know for sure was made up by Hillary Clinton. It was just one political campaign trying to take down another political campaign. Unfortunately, given all of her, you know, sources and relationships within the federal government, the FBI pursued it. So what are you going to do about it? You keep getting stonewalled.
The number one thing we got to do this Congress is not reauthorize FISA in its current form. We have to have dramatic changes to FISA. This is one of the primary focuses of House Republicans on the Judiciary Committee, and I think, frankly, House Republicans, period. So we got to focus on that. And then, of course, the appropriations process. There is no way the FBI should get a new headquarters. There's all kinds of other restrictions we should place on American tax dollars that go to the Department of Justice. Those are our primary focuses. And I think today from Mr. Durham, you will hear why that is necessary, because he's going to give detail and add more color to what we already knew, that this whole Trump-Russia thing was a lie. The dossier was garbage. They used it anyway. They used it to go spy on an American citizen for American citizens associated with the presidential campaign. So that will come out, I think, in a clear form, and there'll be, as I said, some real detail added to what we sort of know already happened. But in my mind, it's all moving us towards the goal of not reauthorizing FISA in its current form, dramatically changing that, and limiting how American tax dollars are spent at the Department of Justice.
Well, we've been watching this now for years, and here we go again with the stonewalling, Congressman. So you've got the power of the purse, but what happened in the debt ceiling agreement that could tie your hands to that? Because I'm wondering if Chuck Schumer can just throw that power of the purse in the garbage if he sits on something and then the spending levels go back to the year earlier spending levels, and the FBI gets their $3.5 billion for the new headquarters.
Well, we actually think we set this up in the right way so that if we can't get the appropriations process done with the language I've talked about on these 12 appropriation bills, if we don't get that, when we get to January 1st, there's an automatic 1% cut. That'd be the first time that's ever happened around this place. I've been here 16 years. I've never seen us go from year to year less spending in discretionary in the discretionary spending accounts. So that is the backstop we have. I think that's the incentive for us to do our work and get the language in I just talked about, language that would limit how American tax dollars are spent at the Justice Department and, frankly, the Department of Homeland Security, too. There should be no money ever go for a disinformation governance board. No money should be used to censor misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, all these fancy words that the bureaucrats like to use, for goodness sake. So that's the process that I think we've set up in this debt ceiling agreement. Yeah. And if we can't get it done, there's an automatic backstop where there's a 1% cut. Thank goodness that would be the first time that's ever happened. So I do feel like the framework is pretty conducive for us to actually getting some wins for the American people.
Well, I mean, a 1% cut, though, does that go back to the spending, which could include the $3.5 billion for the FBI headquarters?
Well, yeah, it'll be across the board, but it's not enough. We should be cutting more, frankly. But in split government, when you got Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden, that would be huge if we could actually, in divided government, reduce discretionary spending. Yeah. That's what we need to focus on. But also the policy language in those bills is critically important.
Look, I know you're demanding answers from the IRS as well about this home visit to an Ohio taxpayer. Allegedly, you say that the agent used a fake name to get into the woman's home. Tell us more. And I also have to ask you about some of your colleagues deciding not to put Adam Schiff on the spot in the spotlight. You know, Anna Paulina Luna had an effort to actually see some accountability there. He went on national TV throughout the whole Russia collusion story. He was the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, and that suggested that he knew more than the rest of us. He didn't. I don't know where he got collusion is in plain sight for so many years. That's what he kept saying.
When he said more than circumstantial evidence that there's a collusion, which wasn't true. So, I do think the reason some of those folks voted the way they did was because of the $16 million amount that was in the fine language that was in the bill. Representative Anna Paulina Luna is going to bring that back. In fact, she introduced it again last night on the House floor. She's going to bring it back minus that language. I think you'll see those individuals who voted against it. Most of them come and vote for it now. So I do think that has a good chance of passing when it comes up later this week. So I think that was the key distinction there.
And the IRS?
Well, that happened in our district. And I think the real takeaway here is the arrogance of these bureaucrats. This individual showed up at a lady's home, demanded to come in, hadn't corresponded, no letter, no phone call prior to him showing up at her door, used a fake name, comes there with an alias. Well, that's kind of strange. She gets nervous. She didn't do anything wrong, by the way. She gets nervous. She calls her lawyer. Her lawyer tells the guy, get the heck out of her house. After the fact, they think it's some kind of scam he's trying to do. So she calls the police. And here's the kicker. This guy, this IRS agent, goes to the inspector general at the Treasury Department and says the police were harassing him. You got to be kidding me. But I think the real takeaway is the arrogance these bureaucrats now have. And of course, this comes on the heels of what they did to Matt Taibbi. Matt Taibbi is testifying in front of our committee. Democrats on the committee are asking him who his sources are. Here's an award-winning journalist. He says, I can't talk about my sources, for goodness sake. It's called the First Amendment. While that's all going on, the IRS is knocking on his door.
Unbelievable.
So this is scary, and this is the agency getting more agents and more money. That's why we got to stop that.
This is all so dangerous, Congressman. Thanks very much. We'll be watching your next move. Congressman Jim Jordan, thank you so much for being here this morning.